Your dock clearly violates the setback regulations shown right here on the plat map. You need to move it immediately.
That is absolutely incorrect.
Blue strobes bounced off the water as cold air cut through my hoodie, and the smell of wet asphalt and stale coffee hit my nose. At 6:12 a.m. on May 3rd, 2024, I stepped onto my dock and froze. 15 board members and volunteers in orange vests stood shoulder to shoulder like a firing squad. Each held a ticket book. The new HOA president, the one the cul-de-sac calls Dockside Karen, waved a clipboard and shouted over the wind. Violations, she said. Unauthorized structure. Community safety. She slapped a notice on my boat lift while a guy filmed me like I was a wildlife show. In the dawn haze, my cedar boards looked guilty. The lake looked bored. I just felt small and furious. This is HOA stormed my dock with 15 ticket books. Then I pulled the plat map, and it's exactly what this fight is about. They had already posted 4 bright tags on my mailbox and 2 on my truck. They said my dock sat on common property. I said it was on my deed. Karen smirked, the kind of smirk that says I already sent the email. She waved again. Fines start now. They stacked the slips like playing cards. 7 infractions for the dock, 3 for my rail lights, 5 for parking, and 1 for a garden hose coiled like a snake. $1,400 due by Friday. My neighbors peeked from blinds. One lifted a phone, then turned away. The tickets flapped in the wind like silly flags. I tried to keep my voice steady. Let's talk this through, I said. Show me your map. Karen tilted her head like a teacher about to give a pop quiz and called me non-compliant. A board guy whispered, we already voted. Another said, the lawyer said proceed. I called the management company. Voicemail. I emailed the board. Auto reply. I knocked on 2 doors. They kept their chains on and told me they were sorry, but they had kids and didn't want trouble. The HOA Facebook page hid my comment after 6 minutes. That evening at 9:00 p.m., I walked the dock in the dark and counted the nails in each plank just to breathe. The water had that metal smell right before rain. I promised myself no yelling, no stunts, only facts, only channels. Still, my hands shook, so I got busy. I pulled my deed. I pulled my survey. I pulled the county plat books and spent $22 in copy fees because the clerk's machine hates cards. I filed a records request with the city. 2 days later, the file landed with 63 pages. I set up a war table on my kitchen island with sticky notes. Timeline item 1, April 5 at 4:27 a.m., false trespass call. Timeline item 2, May 3 at 6:12 a.m., mass ticket raid. Timeline item 3, May 3 at 11:09 a.m., blocked comment on HOA page. I lined up photos, emails, and call logs in a binder. The law was simple enough for even my nephew. Easements end where the plat says they end. And here's another plain law line for the folks in back. Patterns of false reports can be prosecuted. I marked the stake line with bright chalk. My dock sat 2 feet inside my property. The HOA's easement stopped well before my lift. The plat map, stamped and sealed, made it look like kindergarten. The next board meeting was June 12th at 7:30 p.m. I got there at 7:00 and sat front row with my binder, my deed, and a roll of painter's tape. My neighbor Casey whispered, "You sure about this?" I nodded and kept breathing. Karen started fast. "We have safety concerns. We have attorney guidance. We must protect the community." I raised my hand, denied. I stood anyway. She called for order. I said, "Here's the order," and walked to the wall. One by one, I taped up the county plat map, the survey, and the deed description in big letters. 50 people watched. A couple teens started filming. I pointed to the stamp. County of Lakeview. Recorded on March 14th, 2008. I pointed to the line. "See this? That's the boundary." Then I slid over the easement note that said 5 feet for foot traffic only. I hit play on a body cam clip I requested. A city inspector on May 7th saying, "If the plat shows it's private, we don't touch it." Karen lunged for the tape. "Bad move." A board member stepped in and read the stamp out loud with a paper-shaking voice. The room went quiet. Then someone laughed, the kind of laugh you can't swallow. It was like a switch flipped. Phones came up. Neighbors in the back started whisper commenting like live subtitles. "That smells like overreach. That's not even the right section." Someone zoomed in on the easement line and said, "Girl, that dock is a postage stamp inside his yard." Casey read my timeline into the mic when I slid the binder over. False trespass call, 4:27 a.m., April 5th. Anonymous, but we have the same voice on 3 calls. The chat in the Facebook group exploded in real time. The post that hid my comment got screenshotted and reshared 11 times. The city inspector stood up from the back row like he'd been waiting for his cue. He said, "The plat controls. The HOA cannot ticket private property structures." He pointed at the tickets on my dock and said, "Those are void." People clapped. Someone yelled, "Refund the man." By 8:10 p.m., the authority flip was complete. The police liaison, who had been rocking in his chair, leaned into the mic. "We reviewed the calls. We're warning the caller for misuse of non-emergency." Another simple line for the minutes. You don't get to harass your neighbor at dawn because you don't like his boat. The board's attorney joined by speakerphone. Without the plat, we assumed. With the plat, we withdraw. He advised a vote. The board voted 5-1 to rescind all 15 tickets, remove any record of fines, and issue a letter of apology by June 20th. They also voted to censure the president for acting outside policy on mass enforcement. Karen stared at the map like it had betrayed her. When the chair asked for comments, a dad in a fishing hoodie said, or maybe read before you write. The room cracked up like a dropped plate. The aftermath felt like when a storm finally quits and the lake goes glass. The tickets came off my dock. The letter of apology arrived with 2 sentences and a signature that looked like it had cramps. My account showed a credit of $1,400 and a 0 balance. Karen took a 60-day leave. The board posted a new rule: no enforcement without property verification. The HOA hired a surveyor for future checks instead of a posse with clipboards. Casey brought lemonade to the dock at sunset. We set our chairs 2 feet from the chalk line and watched the light turn the water pink. A kid from down the road waddled over with a tiny rod and asked if he could fish off my steps. You stay on this side of the line, I told him, and he grinned and caught a sunfish the size of a pancake. We all cheered, and for the first time in weeks, I didn't look over my shoulder. Please follow for more HOA showdowns like this. Do you think she got what she deserves? Comment below.